too tired to care.
Yeah, but you were happy to jet lag coming in there. Okay, and camera's rolling.
Peter, can you explain the relationship that the oceans play in relation to the Amazon?
Yeah, so if you look at let's do that again. If you look at the Amazon now, it just looks green and verdant, but from year to year, its health and the carbon exchange with the atmosphere changes. And the reason it does that is actually because the oceans control the rainfall here through circulation patterns, and the rainfall controls how productive the forest is. So it's very much connected, and ocean temperatures hundreds of kilometres away are affecting the health of the forest now.
Which oceans play a role in affecting the Amazon?
There are two main contributory factors to the Amazon's rainfall and conditions like drought. One's in the Pacific, so things like the El Nino oscillation, which is kind of like a bit like warm bathwater sloshing from one side of the Pacific to the other. Depending on which side the warm bathwater is, you can change the rainfall patterns. Particularly in here, northeast Amazon, during El Nino years, gets quite a lot drier and is more prone to fire. And the other thing that's been discovered recently is that you can get thunderstorms as well. Of course, you do in the Amazon very often. So in that case, you've got very extreme updrafts associated with fluxes of heat. And one way you can get that is from very warm bodies. So where you've got warm water, the air tends to rise, it rains out, and then where it descends again, it has to come down somewhere, it tends to dry out, and then you get dry conditions. So what happens in the Atlantic as well is that where the air comes up and comes down is affected by how warm the tropical North Atlantic is relative to the south. And that's what seems to have happened in 2005 and 2010. It wasn't the Pacific doing it, there was no El Nino. It was to do with an anomalous warm tropical North Atlantic, which changed the rainfall in Western Amazonia and here to some extent.
So in a sense, there's a great interconnection between oceans, atmosphere and land?
Yeah, I mean the Amazon's a good case of where the Earth system really plays out. So the things we see here, and the carbon fluxes, the carbon dioxide concentrations we see globally are controlled to a large extent by this forest. And this forest itself is influenced by the ocean temperature, and the ocean temperature influenced by things like carbon dioxide that we put into the atmosphere and other pollutants. So there is a strong connection, and our influence on this forest is both direct through things like deforestation and indirect through climate change.
Is it a bit of a domino effect if the oceans are knocking the forest? What does the forest then affect on a more global scale?
So in the big picture, if for example you had a change in the rainfall patterns that meant this forest stopped accumulating carbon dioxide and started to emit it, they have more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, we'd get a further change in climate, and that would have an additional impact on the climate here. So it isn't necessarily a tipping point. We're never quite sure whether it's a tipping point, but what it is an acceleration of the change that you can get from a large carbon store like this.
And when we